friends. I'm the luckiest man in the whole world to have you. And we're gonna put our love on pause for a little while, but it's never gonna stop. Will you hold on to that? Yeah. You hold on to this too. We'll always be close.
I love you. Please tell Sam that I love him, okay? I'll be home soon. I love you all, okay?
Love you. Love you.
It's funny. Walk into the room and suddenly I have all the power. But I spoke to a friend of mine earlier who I admire and respect, and he suggested that maybe I wouldn't find it that satisfying, you know? Maybe I could find the respect and the validation that I crave some other way other than being CEO.
I knew you would see reason.
Yeah, well, I considered what he said and a lot of other factors, and I realized that I just can't take a back seat, and I certainly can't answer to whoever might be CEO.
You would have a vital role here.
And there was a time that I might believe those words coming out of your mouth, but not anymore, Jack. You're not going to walk over me ever again. I don't entirely blame you, though, you know. I know that our father raised you to be the heir apparent. And even though I was smart and driven and, frankly, more talented than you, I wasn't John Abbott Jr. I wasn't even an Abbott.
Yes, you are.
Saying it doesn't make it so.
I'm not going to change my mind about you becoming CEO.
I didn't think you would, not for one single second. That's why I'm officially turning down your offer.
And what?
Yes. What does that mean?
What does that mean, Jackie?
It means Mom's walking away from us.
From the family she pretended to love. I don't get it. What's to get? She's leaving us and Geneva City.
I'm walking away from Chabot and this family that's pretending to forgive me just because they want something from me. You're not going to get it. I'm taking those patents, and I'm leaving Genoa City.
Next week on The Young and the Restless.
I've booked a flight to Paris tonight, and I'm going to be on it.
With me as CEO, I think it would send out a clear signal that this is not the same old Chabot, that this is new. Why are you getting so upset about a broken water pipe?
This particular pipe is in Chancellor Park, directly underneath the sculpture.
And JT.
It's a case that will lead Magnum to this little house of horrors.
What do you think?
We should have stopped for bug spray.
Then, a deadly arson
Did you just set the fire?
points to the last person you'd expect.
I need to know. I need to know who I married.
New Bull, after a new Magnum PI. CBS Monday.
A little extra each week goes a long way.
Sounds good, but liberal Laura Kelly voted to raise taxes on food by nearly 20%. Eggs, peanut butter, a gallon of milk, you name it, liberal Laura Kelly wanted you to pay more. So when Kelly says,
A little extra each week goes a long way.
remember, she's talking about extra money for government, not you. Liberal Laura Kelly, the only candidate for governor with a record of higher taxes.
Steve Watkins can't stop lying to Kansas voters. Watkins' self-portrayal as an adventurer has been discredited as a gigantic fallacy. His business career is a lie, too. Watkins told voters he owned a company he built from scratch. Records show he didn't. And Watkins falsely claimed he went without pay to support employees. The former CEO doesn't even remember Watkins, saying, "He's nobody that I've heard of." Steve Watkins is unbelievable. Patriot Majority USA is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Liberal Paul Davis was caught with a topless dancer in the back room of a strip club. And he's no fiscal conservative. He's stripped our state's protection from Obamacare and increased fees on everything from pet licenses to dental board examinations. Another vote for the Pelosi agenda. Conservative Steve Watkins proudly served his country in the military. Endorsed by Senator Bob Dole, Steve Watkins will stand up for Kansas. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm a Republican, and I'm supporting Paul Davis because of the person he is.
I am a Republican. I'm supporting Paul Davis. He's fiscally responsible.
Paul is very fiscally responsible. He has a track record to prove that.
He takes an idea from anyone, doesn't matter which side of the aisle it comes from.
Paul's very good at finding common ground.
He's really about getting stuff done for Kansas.
I'm a Kansas Republican.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a registered Kansas Republican.
And I support Paul Davis for Congress.
I'm Paul Davis, and I approve this message.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Good afternoon and welcome into Midday in Kansas. I'm Erica Hall, joined here with meteorologist Doug Myers. All right, the thing I want to know is what the weekend ahead is looking like.
It's looking really, really nice, especially tomorrow, but even Sunday's looking a little bit better than what we were thinking earlier in the week. So, yeah, we just had to get through today. It's still a little bit on the cool side, but we're starting to get rid of the cloud cover. We're going to be watching that closely for the rest of the day, and that will certainly determine how warm we do get for today. Taking a look outside our Emporia camera sponsored by ValueNet. All the rain is off to our east from yesterday, and now we're just going to wait until that cloud cover clears out, and we will start to gradually see more sun as the afternoon progresses. Temperatures right now are mainly in the low to mid 50s, although there's still some upper 40s for places like Holton, Marysville, and Council Grove. And as we go throughout the day, clouds will be decreasing with highs near 60 degrees for today, and then falling through the 50s this evening to low of 41 overnight. May get a little bit of patchy fog early tomorrow morning as well, so be aware of that if you're going to be out early, but lots of sunshine over the weekend. I'll explain why it may not be quite as windy on Sunday as what we were originally thinking earlier in the week. We'll talk more about that and what to expect for Halloween coming up. Erica?
Thanks, Doug. There's been an arrest this morning in the coast-to-coast investigation of crude pipe bombs sent to prominent Democratic critics of President Trump. Law enforcement officials say 56-year-old Caesar Syock of Adventura, Florida, was taken into custody near an auto zone. It comes after two more suspicious packages were discovered in Florida and at a post office in New York City this morning. Hillary Lane has the latest.
Police in Plantation, Florida have taken one person into custody in connection with a series of pipe bombs sent through the mail. CBS News has learned the arrest happened near an auto parts store after a confrontation. Earlier this morning, law enforcement swarmed Midtown Manhattan after a suspicious package addressed to former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, care of CNN, was found at a postal facility.
Bomb squad was able to use their equipment to conduct an X-ray. Inside, they saw what appears to be a pipe bomb consistent with other devices we've seen this week.
Officials discovered another package targeting New Jersey Senator Cory Booker at the South Florida mail facility that has become the focus of the investigation. Sources tell CBS News investigators believe some of the packages may have been processed there.
We'll figure out motives, but for right now, these are acts of domestic terrorism.
Here in New York, investigators discovered the package addressed to Clapper during the busy morning rush hour.
We just go about life and go to work and stay with our loved ones and do our best.
Clapper told CNN that the suspicious packages will not silence Trump critics. The NYPD bomb squad removed the package addressed to Clapper. It will be sent to the FBI's lab in Quantico, Virginia.
At a press conference after Syock's arrest, President Trump said he will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The president went on to say political violence must not take root in America. The YMCA of Topeka has announced they have sold two of their locations to Great Life Golf and Fitness. 13's Sean Weed is live in downtown Topeka with details on what that means for members. Sean?
Well, the announcement came today during a news conference here at the Downtown Y, which is a part of that deal, as well as the one on Northwest Tyler. The Y says they have been struggling financially for the past 14 years, with last year being the first time they have been in the black. Great Life says they will continue Y programs at both locations, including the daycare at the downtown facility. It won't affect any memberships and will actually give Y members more locations to work out. Both the YMCA and Great Life say this is a positive move for both them and the community.
Our first goal is how do we keep employees employed and the members that are used to going to those facilities still able to go. So with this relationship, we're able to do that.
Great Life says they will keep most of the employees from the YMCA. The Y will still own the Southwest location and move their offices there. They say that the sale will allow them to focus more on their mission and ministries. Now, of course, we have full details about the sale coming up tonight at 6 and 10 and also at 5 and also on our website at WIBW.com.
All right, thanks, Sean. Great work out there. Excuse me. Old and unused medicines sitting in your home can be a prescription for abuse and danger. The Drug Enforcement Agency and other law enforcement agencies nationwide are helping you safely get rid of them tomorrow as part of the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. You can bring unused prescription drugs to the Soldier Township Fire Department, Shawnee Heights Fire Station 23, and Topeka Police Department from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday. The DEA can only accept pills and patches, no liquids or needles. The Brown County Sheriff's Office is also participating, but they have a 24-hour, 7 days a week drop-off location there. The cold weather rule for natural gas and electric utilities starts soon. That's one story trending now on the WIBW News app. Also online, an alleged Wichita swatter has pleaded guilty to a new federal charge. Plus, a health warning is coming along with the popular sleep supplements. Find those stories on WIBW News app, free to download on your iPad, iPhone, Android devices, and Kindle Fire.
And after yesterday's rainfall, we got up to 7 inches of rain for the month in October in Topeka, a little bit more in Emporia, a little over 8 inches. So we're doing really good for the month of October, but still a little bit behind, at least for Manhattan and Topeka for the year. We'll take a closer look at if we have any more rain for the rest of the month coming up after the break.
Monty Python's Spam-A-Lot at McCain Auditorium, November 5th.
Steve Watkins caught in a web of lies. For months, Watkins bragged he started a company from scratch, but the star revealed it was all a lie. The CEO of the company didn't even know who Watkins was. Watkins also claimed he didn't take a salary to support his employees, but that was a lie too. No wonder over 40 Republican leaders denounced Watkins' campaign, some even calling him a fraud and a liar. We just can't trust Steve Watkins.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Your Kansas treasurer, Jake LaTurner, the youngest statewide official in America, is doing things differently. Returned a record amount of property to taxpayers. Helped grow an education savings program ranked one of the best in the nation, all while reducing his office budget.
I'm Jake LaTurner. As your treasurer and a father, I wake up every day with a clear focus.
A focus on us.
A focus on results.
A focus on the future.
As a high school teacher, I hoped to make a difference, teaching my students responsibility, not just literature. Steve Watkins was a student who always wanted to make a difference. As our congressman, I know Steve will keep his word because he always does. When it comes to protecting seniors, Medicare, and Social Security, I trust him. If Steve Watkins can make it through my English class, I know he can take on DC.
I'm Steve Watkins, and I approve this message.
This is your 13 weather forecast with Doug Myers.
We had a little bit of sun early this morning, but the clouds have rolled back in. As we take a look outside our Capitol Federal sky cam, it is 50 degrees, and we will be seeing those clouds decreasing once again as we head into the afternoon. Upper 40s and low 50s for most of northeast Kansas, although it is up to 54 in Lawrence, 51 Manhattan, 49 in Council Grove, 48 degrees in Marysville. High temperatures, or I should say temperatures right now rather, are in the upper 50s to mid 60s out in western Kansas, and that's where all the sunshine is. So we're going to slowly be decrease in the cloud cover in our eastern part of the state, where temperatures are still in the low 50s, as the storm system that brought us the rain yesterday continues to push off to the east. So we will start to see more sun as the afternoon progresses, and that's exactly what Supercast does indicate as we head into this afternoon. Temperatures in our western communities do have the opportunity to get in the low to mid 60s, whereas our eastern communities maybe more so in the upper 50s and low 60s. Just depends on how much clearing does take place. So we'll certainly be monitoring that closely. Regardless regardless, I think we're mostly clear this evening. Temperatures in the 50s as we head through the evening. Still maybe in the low 50s by 9:30. Otherwise, overnight lows drop into the lower 40s for overnight lows. Could see a little bit of patchy fog. Otherwise, mostly clear and calm winds. And then once that fog dissipates tomorrow morning, we'll have lots of sunshine and a perfect day tomorrow. High of 72 degrees with the west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Certainly a top 10 day. And then as we head towards Saturday night, remember we had that rain chance in earlier in the week. Well, we've taken it out completely because it's shifted a little bit farther to the north and east, even taking with it a lot of the cloud cover for Iowa and Missouri, and leaving us with just maybe some high clouds, worst case scenario. Of course, the rain well off to our north and east. So because the storm system has shifted a little bit farther to the north and east, as a result of that, it's not going to be quite as cool with that cold front coming through, and not going to be as breezy either. Now, we still have that cold front technically coming through with winds out of the south Saturday into Saturday nights, but then late Saturday night into Sunday, you'll notice that wind shifting over to the north. Gusts could be as high as 25, maybe 30 miles per hour in the morning, and then look what happens by the afternoon. The winds actually decrease, so looking like a better opportunity for less wind as we head towards Sunday afternoon. That 63 on Sunday may be a little bit on the cool side because of that weaker cold front. We may have to up that a little bit for Sunday afternoon. So this weekend's looking really nice other than Sunday morning where it might be a bit on the breezy side. Highs near 70 on Monday, and then we slowly start to cool down for the rest of the week into the 50s. Here's a look at two computer models for Halloween. This particular computer model indicates that we could see some rain developing out in our western communities by 7 p.m. and then overspreading the rest of northeast Kansas into the evening hours. The other computer model, well, this indicates a little bit more in the way of rain as we head towards the evening hours. So we do have a rain chance for Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs should still be in the 50s regardless of rain or not, but certainly something to keep an eye on as we head throughout the next several days.
Yeah, so maybe fashion yourself some cool costume with like an umbrella hat or something.
But yeah, Erica, it was in the 30s. I've been talking about this all week, but it was in the 30s last year, if you remember that, for Halloween
really?
with snow. So yeah.
I wasn't in the state last year. Oh wait, yeah, I was. I'm thinking of 2 years ago. Well, I can't remember either way.
That's all right.
Coming up on Midday in Kansas, we'll check farm news and markets, plus...
Hey there, it's Friday. That means it's time for Drew at the Zoo. And what a month of October it has been at the Topeka Zoo. We actually started in late September with Serengeti Nights and then 4 different Halloween-themed events through the month of October here at the Topeka Zoo. The final one is tomorrow, the biggest one, Boo at the Zoo. Get the kids dressed up. We'll have the details on Drew at the Zoo at noon.
Paul Davis was caught with a topless dancer in the back room of a strip club. But what kind of backroom deals will he make in Congress? He voted against protecting Kansans from Obamacare, and health insurance costs skyrocketed. Paul Davis is supported by liberal special interests who want a government takeover of health care, which would cost $32 trillion and raise our taxes. We can't afford liberal Paul Davis in Congress. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Sam Brownback's tax experiment wrecked our budget and hurt our families. And when Chris Kobach promises tax cuts, he really means he'll bring back the Brownback experiment and make it even worse. That's his plan. Here's mine. Balance the budget without raising taxes and do things to actually help families get by. Here's one. Kansas is one of the few states that puts a sales tax on food. My plan would cut it, because I know a little extra each week goes a long way.
The last 8 years in Kansas were like an earthquake. Our economy was rocked, our schools were shaken, and it was Sam Brownback's tax experiment that did it. Chris Kobach is a carbon copy of Sam Brownback. His #1 priority is to bring back Sam's failed tax experiment. That would be a disaster for Kansas all over again. I'm a Republican, and I've been a Republican my entire life, but I know that Kansas can do better than Chris Kobach.
The economy grew 3.5% during the third quarter. That's according to the Commerce Department. And while down from the prior quarter, the number was better than expected. Helping to prop up the economy was consumer spending, which makes up about 2/3 of economic activity. But the bears are still clawing back on Wall Street, and stocks took a dive after the opening bell. The tech sector led the early declines, with investors disappointed with earnings from Amazon and Google. Google's parent company did make more money, but its sales fell short of forecasts. Alphabet says profit jumped to nearly $9.2 billion during its third quarter. Investors are worried about tougher regulations on the industry. The tech giant is also under scrutiny after Google says it fired 48 employees for sexual harassment over the past 2 years, including 13 senior managers. And it is National Pumpkin Day. Pumpkin spice flavors have been on shelves since August, and sales are up more than 15% from last year. But some say the trend is getting out of hand. Ranker.com, a crowdsourced site, asked participants to rank the times pumpkin spice has gone too far. The top responses were cheese, pasta sauce, and fish bait. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Thanks, Diane. Here's a look at the markets. The Dow is down 148.40 to 24,835.15. NASDAQ is down 75.90 to 7,243.53. And light crude oil is up 15 cents to $67.48 a barrel. Time for the Ag Report. Dan Johnson is joining us from WIBW Radio. Good afternoon, Dan.
Thanks, Erica, and good afternoon, everyone. The grain futures are higher and the livestock futures are trading higher. Soybeans, or rather corn futures, are higher on more expected harvest delays. December corn up 8 at 369, March corn up 7 at 381. The soybeans are higher on decreasing harvest pressure. November soybeans up 5 at 847, and the January beans up 5 at 860. And the wheat futures are higher on commercial buying. December Kansas City wheat up 14 at 501, March wheat up 14 at 527. Here are the Topeka Cargill cash grain bids. Corn up 8 at 348, soybeans up 5 at 771, Milo up 8 at 323, and wheat up 13 at 459. The cattle futures are higher on higher cash sales. October live cattle up 155 at 114.90. December live cattle up 102 at 118.10. November feeder cattle up 137 at 155.32. And the January beans up 77 at 149.75. Lean hog futures are higher on follow-through support. December lean hogs up 90 at 57.65. February lean hogs up 120 at 65.75. In the Kansas cash cattle trade, we do have sales today at 114. That's $3 higher on the week. In boxed beef at midday, choice was up 62 cents at $213.72, with the run of choice select loads at 32. Over in the hogs and the cash basis, there's no comparison to the previous session, but the weighted average at midday, $45.98. The carcass trade, there's no market report. In agriculture news, Chinese corn demand has jumped significantly higher in recent months. In fact, the Chinese government has auctioned off more than 94 million metric tons of corn since early April. Reports say that number was more than half of what analysts believe China had in reserve. Corn from Chinese reserves was auctioned off solely to domestic buyers. These Chinese corn auctions and the drawdown of their reserves could potentially influence global corn prices, but probably not as much as it would have if China and the U.S. weren't in the middle of a trade dispute. That's a check of agriculture news and markets, courtesy of 580 WIBW. Erica, let's send it back to you.
Thanks, Dan. If pumpkin pancakes made from scratch sound like a good way to start your weekend, then you're in the right place. Howard's in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen whipping up the perfect fall-time breakfast treat, pumpkin patch pancakes. That recipe is right around the corner.
4 teams, 3 games, 1 champion. The 15th annual Glory Days Pizza Battle of the Badges, Sunday, November 4th at Yeager Stadium. Proceeds benefit Special Olympics.
Kansas career politicians couldn't find real solutions if you gave them a map. But Brian McClendon created Google Earth to map the world. Brian McClendon helped create thousands of jobs and helped build Google as an executive. McClendon will keep our elections secure and protect Kansans from having their credit cards and social security numbers stolen by cyber criminals. To have a Secretary of State who gets the business of tech, you need a Secretary of State from the tech business. Brian Bam McClendon, the Google guy from Kansas.
I'm a Republican, and I'm supporting Paul Davis because of the person he is.
I am a Republican. I'm supporting Paul Davis. He's fiscally responsible.
Paul is very fiscally responsible. He has a track record to prove that.
He takes an idea from anyone, doesn't matter which side of the aisle it comes from.
Paul's very good at finding common ground.
He's really about getting stuff done for Kansas.
I'm a Kansas Republican.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a registered Kansas Republican.
And I support Paul Davis for Congress.
I'm Paul Davis, and I approve this message.
Steve Watkins can't stop lying to Kansas voters. Watkins' self-portrayal as an adventurer has been discredited as a gigantic fallacy. His business career is a lie, too. Watkins told voters he owned a company he built from scratch. Records show he didn't. And Watkins falsely claimed he went without pay to support employees. The former CEO doesn't even remember Watkins, saying, "He's nobody that I've heard of." Steve Watkins is unbelievable.
Patriot Majority USA is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
We're still mostly cloudy in Topeka, repairs to Hotel Monotel and Convention Center camera, but clouds will gradually be decreasing for today with highs in the upper 50s, and then we'll be in the low 70s tomorrow. That 63 on Sunday may be a little bit on the cooler side, may even be warmer than that, so we'll keep an eye on that, plus the possible rain chance for Halloween, so stay tuned for that over the weekend. Erica?
Thanks for that. If pumpkin pancakes made from scratch sound like a good way to start your weekend, then you're in the right place at the right time.
This is the time of year as we head into the weekend that our to-do list seems to get longer and longer. You know, we want to get out and do some yard work, get a jump start on our holiday shopping, and get in as many errands as possible. So to make the most of this weekend, we came up with a fill-you-up fall recipe that'll jumpstart your weekend. They're from-scratch pumpkin pancakes that are to die for. In a large bowl, we combine some flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and a bit of salt. We set that aside, and then in another bowl, we whisk together some eggs with milk, melted butter, and a splash of vanilla. Then we add a good amount of pumpkin pie filling and mix it until it's smooth. Once our dry ingredients get stirred in, onto the griddle they go. I only wish you could smell these. Slather on some syrup and a bit of butter, and talk about heavenly. Whether you make them regular size for us grown-ups or silver dollar size for the kids, everyone will love the cozy pumpkin flavor in every bite. So here's what I suggest. Visit our website and get the recipe for pumpkin patch pancakes. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a pumpkin lover's way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Stick around because Drew at the Zoo is up after the break.
Kansas is a special place. That's why we all live, work, and raise our families here. 3 million people spread across 105 counties creates a diverse set of strengths and concerns. So as Attorney General, I visit every corner of our state to listen to Kansans. That's how I stay focused on the right priorities, keeping our communities safe and secure, enforcing the law fairly, and protecting our freedoms and values. I'm Derek Schmidt, and I'd be honored to continue to serve as your Attorney General.
A little extra each week goes a long way.
Sounds good, but liberal Laura Kelly voted to raise taxes on food by nearly 20%. Eggs, peanut butter, a gallon of milk, you name it, liberal Laura Kelly wanted you to pay more. So when Kelly says,
a little extra each week goes a long way.
Remember, she's talking about extra money for government, not you. Liberal Laura Kelly, the only candidate for governor with a record of higher taxes.
Scott Schwab, businessman, husband, father, a homegrown Kansan and bipartisan leader. As Secretary of State, Scott Schwab will restore trust, ensure our elections are conducted securely, and make it easier to grow jobs.
I'm Scott Schwab, and as Secretary of State, I'll put partisan politics where it belongs, in the past, and run the office with professionalism and honesty. For me, it's not about politics. It's about leading our state, the Kansas way.
TCT presents Agatha Christie's Witness for the Prosecution, October 19th through November 3rd, a suspenseful thriller that keeps you guessing until the very end. Get tickets now at topekacivictheater.com.
Drew at the Zoo is sponsored by Thrivent Financial, connecting your faith and finances for good. Contact Drew Schweitzer at 785-250-5186. Thrivent Financial, connecting your faith and finances for good.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
There is Friday. That means it's time for Drew at the Zoo, the last Friday in October. And what a month of October it has been here at the Topeka Zoo, as thousands of people have been to the Topeka Zoo and enjoyed many different Halloween-themed events. And the final Halloween event of the month is tomorrow. It's the biggest event of the year at the Topeka Zoo, as thousands of kids will be running up and down these paths here at the zoo, collecting as much candy as they can. Boo at the Zoo. We had one Boo at the Zoo event last weekend. We do it 2 weekends, so the next one is tomorrow, all day long. Shelby, it's been a great month. We've had Fright Fest, we've had Pumpkin Bash, and now 2 Boo at the Zoos. What can folks expect tomorrow? A scavenger hunt, I hear.
Yes, so we place different pink pumpkins around the zoo, so make sure that you get that scavenger hunt when you get in, because that's a fun game to go around and try to find all those pumpkins, because they're definitely hidden. I've tried to do that before with my own kiddo. But not just that, we have the hay maze in the pavilion, so check that out. And then, like you said, there's going to be thousands of people here. Yes. So we have tons of great vendors that will be throughout the entire zoo. It's a huge sponsorship commitment on their end, because just in one day, they're providing over 6,000 pieces of candy for those kiddos to have a great time. So we encourage them to come dressed in costume and bring their treat bags, because they're going to get a lot of candy, and then they get to go home and be on a sugar high.
Absolutely, and Halloween's not even here yet, so that's some good stuff there. But yeah, the vendors, they make a big commitment. This is a community event, so this is a fun, safe way for kids to enjoy the Halloween season, get dressed up, and do some trick-or-treating of their own.
Yes, so you can come in here and get all of your trick-or-treating done in just one visit to the Topeka Zoo. Now we will have from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. the zoo will be open that day, and you can get in with your FOTS membership, so you get to go into the FOTS line. Otherwise, it is just regular admission prices at the door. If you do decide to sign up for a FOTS membership that day, you will get tons of benefits over the next 12 months, and we'll be out there with a booth selling memberships. So you can take advantage of that and sign up at the door and skip that line, but make sure you come out. It's going to be a great event, lots of candy and lots of people.
Absolutely. Great point there, Shelby, is that FOTS members, this is regular admission day at the Topeka Zoo tomorrow, so a FOTS membership gets you in for free, and tomorrow you get to skip the long line if you're a FOTS member. Now, a slight change on the FOTS memberships is we've got multiple levels of members. So it used to be just kind of a one-size-fits-all membership system for FOTS. Now the Friends of the Topeka Zoo memberships are kind of tiered, so you can kind of choose the tier that best suits your family and your situation. So look to sign up for that this weekend. So we'll see you tomorrow, the last big Halloween event of the season at the Topeka Zoo. Boo at the Zoo. It's going to be spooktacular.
Thanks, Drew. Thank you guys so much for watching Midday in Kansas. Have a great day.
The latest news, weather, and sports at WIBW.com, or follow WIBW on Twitter, Facebook, and our mobile app. Thank you for making 13 News Midday the most watched midday newscast.
He's going to be a great governor. He will do the job for you. He'll fight for you every single day. He doesn't stop. He'll protect your family. He'll protect your children. Everybody get out and vote for my friend Chris Kobach.
Liberal Paul Davis was caught with a topless dancer in the back room of a strip club. And he's no fiscal conservative. He's stripped our state's protection from Obamacare and increased fees on everything from pet licenses to dental board examinations. Another vote for the Pelosi agenda. Conservative Steve Watkins proudly served his country in the military. Endorsed by Senator Bob Dole, Steve Watkins will stand up for Kansas. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The last 8 years in Kansas were like an earthquake. Our economy was rocked, our schools were shaken, and it was Sam Brownback's tax experiment that did it. Chris Kobach is a carbon copy of Sam Brownback. His #1 priority is to bring back Sam's failed tax experiment. That would be a disaster for Kansas all over again. I'm a Republican, and I've been a Republican my entire life, but I know that Kansas can do better than Chris Kobach.
Be a great governor. He will do the job for you. He'll fight for you every single day. He doesn't stop. He'll protect your family. He'll protect your children. Everybody get out and vote for my friend Chris Kobach.
A few days ago, I got a friend request from God.
So you got a direct line to the man upstairs?
There's someone out there sending me friend suggestions for people who need help.
Like, that's weird. God's not on my friend list.
What if?
What did you do? I checked the page and it was gone.
You were unfriended by God.
There's nothing I can do to help.
We just have to keep looking.
People are not looking for miracles, Miles. They're looking for hope.
New God Friended Me. CBS Sunday after 60 Minutes.
Tonight, 9/8 Central. Catch a new Hawaii 5-0 on CBS.
Is your husband?
Was.
I'm not talking about my father.
I think Wyatt's saying that, setting aside the fact that Ridge shouldn't even be in there since he already is.
Why is he there? Why is he still there? What do you think, my brother's in there choking the life out of Bill?
Nobody thinks that, but since Ridge already admitted he's the reason my dad's in that hospital bed.
Bill started the fight.
It doesn't take much, Thorne. You got two captains of industry with zero self-control in the same room. What do you think is gonna happen?
Okay, no one's getting murdered today, all right?
Yeah, and if our father doesn't wake up?
I'm never surprised when men are fascinated by my wife. But I don't think this is about Brooke. I think you're obsessed with me. Think about it. You go after my daughter. After Brooke. You want a piece of Forrester Creations. Oh, you got what you want. I'm right here by your bedside. Asking you very nicely to wake up. Because perfectionists like us, we don't like unfinished business.
No! Oh my God, Eric! Look what she's done! No, it was an accident. Oh, don't you believe that? No, she broke it up from underneath the stairs as if she was gonna drop it.
No, you're making it worse.
It's ruined. It isn't me you hate, is it? I'm not good enough. It's my sister you don't want in your living room. Eric, that is so not true.
No. Maybe it can be repaired. I don't know.
Eric, it'll never be the same.
Eric, you know I would never intentionally do anything to hurt this. There are so many pictures of Stephanie all around the house. Maybe we can find one to replace it.
Sometimes I try to think back to when we were little girls or to the day that you two got married. You know, Mommy and Daddy were still alive. But I'm never sure that it's the right face I'm remembering till I see this one.
I have so little left of her. We all have keepsakes of hers, of course, but this portrait was precious to everyone in the family. How could you do this?
Bill's strong. He's gonna be just fine.
Well, we haven't heard the doctor say that.
What I want to know is why this had to happen in the first place. Can somebody please explain that to me?
It didn't have to happen. He threw the first punch.
So what? You're grown men. Why did there have to be a second punch or a third punch or a 10th? And this could affect all of our
We
futures.
went over there to have a conversation.
And how did you think that was gonna go? You show up on his doorstep, unannounced, not exactly two of his favorite people. I mean, what were you gonna talk about? Brooke? Leave me out of it, Katie. If only Bill would. What do we tell Will if his father doesn't wake up?
You can open your eyes, Billy. Everyone is on your side. No one thinks you fell. Everyone knows you were pushed. By me. And that detective's back in town, you know, the one that put that list together of all the people that hate your guts. Told him the truth. Told him I pushed you. I told him why. hate you, but I don't like to see you like this. I know you can hear me. Probably hear me in your sleep, huh? Do us all a favor. Wake up.